Making budget decks is a little tricky for people, especially if you're conditioned to expensive ones. Formats like Modern and Vintage make you feel like you have to sell your liver just to play a good deck, but I think you shouldn't. So in this video, I'm going to give you 8 tips to become a better budget deck builder in Magic the Gathering. Start off with our first tip: decide your budget. Keep a budget in mind. Many people, budget could mean $30 to $40. For you, it could maybe mean $100. But the reason why you're supposed to decide your budget is because having a budget in mind keeps boundaries and restrictions to your deck, so you don't spend $1,000 on a deck that you were supposed to spend $100 on. It's the start of building your budget deck, because without it, you would just spend money endlessly and have all the great staple cards, find out to realize that, oh wait, all those cards are a lot of money. A good example of this is, for example, adding Sol Ring to your deck. Yeah, sure, Sol Ring is a commander staple and almost every deck has it, but it is a little bit over your budget. You did want to have a budget of 30 and it just went up to 50. So number 2, always use tools. When you're building a deck, using tools can make it much more stronger and much more budget friendly. Some great tools I recommend using is Scryfall. Scryfall is great because it's a card search engine and you can practically find any specific card you need with Scryfall's advanced search. Also use MTG Goldfish or Moxfield. You want to have a deck builder so you're not just writing it on a piece of paper, and having a deck builder is way better because with tools like Moxfield and MTG Goldfish, you can make decks. It'll show you prices, strategies, mana values, converted mana costs, and much more other great things. And with all this info, you can enhance and make your deck even better. Number 3, look for your bulk cards. If you're having trouble finding some inspiration for making a new budget deck, or you need a really specific card or something like that, I really recommend taking a trip for your bulk box. In your bulk box, there are tons of weird, specific commons and uncommons that you never really use. But if you do enough digging, you can maybe find a gem that you could base your whole deck around. I really recommend taking a look into your bulk box. Great idea. Remember, bulk boxes aren't full of garbage, terrible cards. When you're looking for your bulk box, you can find some pretty fun, creative cards that are just never used all the time. So remember, take the most advantage out of your bulk box. You might find some underrated gems. Number 4, be experimental. Stop sitting around thinking, oh, I need Murktide in order to be the best guys. No, be experimental. Think like an Uber Johnny. If you don't know what an Uber Johnny is, it's somebody who can win with the impossible. And you can win with the impossible. I know it. I know it's in you somewhere. And if you can win with the impossible, if you're really a good enough player and a good enough deck builder, well, you will have a great time making budget decks. So remember, always be experimental. Number 5, keep your mana base monocolored. When you keep your mana base monocolored, it's a lot better for the price of your deck. When I say you should keep your deck monocolored, that doesn't mean you can't have a dual colored deck here and there once in a while. A dual colored deck is great, especially when you need a specific color or some specific multicolored card that powers your deck. Just remember to find cheaper mana-based solutions to dual lands and always run many basic lands. Number 6, modify. My school says it's plagiarism, but to be honest, it's in reality smart thinking. When you take a deck and make it cheaper, it's a lot better. You can take a version of Is It Murktide, you could chop it up, and instead of having Ragavan, you could replace it with Delver of Secrets. Making and modifying a deck is much better than making one from scratch, since you already have a concept and idea that's the base. What you can do is remove all the expensive cards from that deck and replace it with some cheaper counterparts. It's very good and it actually ends up becoming a more powerful deck. For example, I took Renvelt Whack made by Saffron Olive, I'll link that in the description, and some of the cards were a bit too expensive. It was mostly Legion Loyalist. So I could cut out Legion Loyalist totally from the deck and replace it with Skirk Prospector. In the end, the deck was, well, almost the same. It was just a little bit cheaper, slight bit worse, but that didn't mean I had to play it worse. Oh, but before we move on to our next points, remember to go outside, touch some grass, see your friends, and do a little exercise. Oh, did I say that? No. I meant to say remember to like and subscribe and click the notification bell for more videos like this. Yeah. All right, on to our next points. Number 7, always strike deals. I have a friend who once bought some cards off of Facebook Marketplace. It was just some $5 bulk card with, just tons of cards for just $5. Just some person's random bulk box. And he made a deck out of some of these cards, and he actually beat me a ton. Because at the time, we were really just starting out and playing Magic the Gathering, and we were just experimenting with whatever we had. What is the moral of the story? Well, it's to strike deals. Go to Facebook Marketplace or eBay once in a while, and you might find some cool cards out there. It might be some bulk box somebody might be selling for $5. But in the end, you will find some nice deals. I promise you. Using a cheaper counterpart doesn't exactly mean you're downgrading your deck. It just means you're going on a bit of a more odd path. Sometimes it is sort of downgrading your deck, and in order to make budget decks, there are sacrifices that need to be made. But downgrading Downgrading your deck is a sacrifice you should be willing to make in order to have a budget deck. Example of a cheaper counterpart is, say you're playing a multicolored tribal deck. Cavern of Souls is normally very essential for multicolored tribal decks, but it can be easily replaced with Unclaimed Territory, which is just a cheaper counterpart, and it's not totally downgrading your deck. It does the same thing Cavern of Souls does. If you enjoyed these tips for making a better budget deck, please consider liking and subscribing, and don't forget to share this channel to your friend. Now, I'll see you later.